Welcome back. The General Assembly returns to Raleigh tomorrow for the beginning of its short session, and state lawmakers arrive under the cloud of the coronavirus pandemic. So how will the State House operate while social distancing is still the rule of the day, and what will get done in particular this week? Joining me now is State Representative John Bill. He's the House Majority Leader and Republican from Wayne County. Representative Bill, so good to see you, sir. First of all, how are you and your family doing?
We're doing good. We're coping with a lot of togetherness, but you know, we're learning how to work remote and missing a lot of our friends and family, and ready for this to pass so we can be with them.
So I always love talking to you, particularly I talk to you about hurricane stuff all the time and recovery too, because you represent a more rural area. In many parts of our state, we focus so much on urban areas. So how are the parts of the state that aren't always getting the attention doing?
It's tough out there, and we have a lot of people that are really hurting. Have a lot of small businesses that are hurting. I wish the governor would look at doing a more county by county, area by area approach instead of a statewide blanket, because what's different in Fremont is completely different than what's happening in downtown Raleigh. But even with that, it's been wonderful to see our community rallying together, supporting all the businesses in the community and trying to get through this. But there's a lot of challenges still out there.
Would you support them more of a regional approach to this? Because, you know, there's a lot of talk about people, they cross county lines for work and they go bring this back and forth.
I would because, you know, you look at the data that's out there and the situations. Let's talk about it in my area in Wayne County. We've been in the news a lot with the News Correctional Facility and the issues we're having there. That area is isolated. So you know, that's our major outbreak with the viruses in that area, with a lot of those folks being asymptomatic, but they're in a contained area. We do have a lot of people that live and work in the community and in areas that they've not experienced any viruses or any outbreaks. And so I would like to see us do an area by area, region by region, even county by county approach, and work with our local officials to do what's best. But you know, this is an unprecedented situation we're in, and the governor's had to make some tough decisions, and we're going to be making some tough decisions tomorrow when we come into Raleigh.
Yeah, so speaking of that, obviously there's a lot of hands reaching out for help. This gets insanely complicated when you get down to just the myriad of regulations that are impacted on people's day-to-day lives, things like DMV. So what is the focus here this week? Are you here for a few days, passing some major pieces of legislation and getting out? What's the situation?
So I'll take it step by step, Tim. You know, since this has happened, I've probably had just in our office alone close to over $3 billion in requests from small businesses to nonprofits to state agencies. You name it, they've all reached out to us for help. And look, the state of North Carolina until this happened was in great fiscal shape, and we're going to be better than just about every other state in the country, just because of the shape our budgets have been in and what we've been able to accomplish the last couple of years. So what we're going to come in and do on Wednesday is, as you remember, and I know it's been reported on widely, the Speaker executed a number of task forces here in the House. One was dealing with economic development and activity. The other was dealing with education. The other was dealing with health care. And then the one that myself and Representative Jackson, Representative Lewis co-chaired dealt with the governmental side. And so we're going to come in and we'll put forth recommendations. We're already working with our counterparts in the Senate and working with the governor's office, and have been working with each other to make sure that we're able to relieve some of this regulatory burden from our citizens. And a lot of these things deal with things that, you know, frankly, I didn't even think about until it happened. You know, you have a marriage license valid for 60 days and you've lost your venue. How do you do that when your DMV registration is now due? Your license needs to be renewed. Also, you've got a lot of regulatory permitting that is due at this time. And so we're going to extend a lot of that out, delay some of those and push those out. We're also looking at putting dollars in the Golden Leaf. And as you know, through the disaster relief committees that we talked about, Golden Leaf has been a huge advocate of getting money into the hands of our small business areas. And so we're working with that one. The healthcare committee has been working diligently on what to do to get our healthcare community back up and running, and working with them to get them the needs they did. And of course, the largest part of our budget is education. And so we have a whole committee dedicated to education. We now know kids aren't going back to school for the remainder of the year. How are we going to deal with that moving forward? What is testing going to look like? How are we going to be able to navigate through that? And then, of course, the tax deadlines that have been extended and will be extended, and dealing with our unemployment system. And so these are the issues you're going to see put forward. and they'll should be out by the end of the week. We'll have the bills on the floor more than likely on Thursday. Hopefully everything will be pre-negotiated and we'll be on the same page, and then have these bills out by the end of the week. And then what we will do at that time is take go into scheduled session, kind of see what the governor's going to do with executive orders, and then we'll come back in and get back to work in somewhat a traditional short session.
Yes, except for with an interesting revenue picture coming in late in July, and that we'll get to that probably, if not later in this interview, in the weeks and months ahead. It's not a secret that the governor and the legislature, at least the Republican leadership, has not exactly been aligned in the past year and a half. What are your expectations as far as bipartisanship here this week in getting through at least this first part of this almost emergency session?
Look, and as part of politics and different personalities, we're going to disagree on issues, and even some of the executive orders that have passed. I personally don't agree with the governor, and have actually expressed my concern on some of the executive orders. But at the end of the day, the citizens of the state expect us to get the job done for them. That's what we're going to do. I've had the pleasure of working with my seatmate and Rules Chair, Representative David Lewis, on our task force, but also with the Democrat leader, Representative Darren Jackson, and we've been able to work together and really put forth the bill that we think is going to benefit the citizens of the state. And that's what I think you'll see this week. I think you'll see bipartisanship, because at the end of the day, we're all North Carolinians. Every one of us has friends and family and constituents that are affected by this. And they expect us to come up here and get the job done to provide relief for the state, and that's what we're going to do.
One last question before I let you go. Obviously, this is one chunk, and you mentioned how the state's in a good position with a lot of this, including unemployment at the moment. But we don't know what the revenues are going to look like when they start coming in July, and we could potentially see another outbreak of this, even if we get better for a while in the fall and winter. How concerned are you for the next year, 18 months when it comes to the budget?
Well, not just next 18 months, next couple of years, Tim, because this is going to be felt with us for a long time. And so what we're going to do is we're really watching the federal dollars that are coming down and the support we're getting from the federal government. We know that there's going to be more packages coming. And so we want to be able to appropriately spend those dollars and get those into the hands of the people that need it the most. Then we'll come back in towards the end of July when tax revenues are in. We'll have an idea of where we're at with the state. We do expect a shortfall. And then it'll be our responsibility to manage it appropriately to be able to weather for that shortfall. We've been very blessed to have about $3.9 billion in our unemployment reserve, close to $2 billion in our rainy day reserve. And so unfortunately, but fortunately, we're going to have to use these dollars and maximize the impact. But I do think that we're going to be in a whole lot better shape than other states, and we'll have to work together to get through it.
All right, sir. Good to see you. Thank you. I know you've been really busy. Thanks for sharing some time with us tonight, sir.
Hey, thank you, and look, and people continue to reach out to us. We're here to help and serve. Thank you very much, Tim.
I appreciate it.